one spider scribe. Um, my connector and theme was water for the grade of second grade. So we'll just go to the right. Um, for language arts, they're going to do a water cycle adventure story. And the activity that I chose to do for this will be that students will compose a short story that explains the changes a water molecule endures throughout the water cycle. And so they're just going to have to personify a like drop of water and be creative in that way. And then my standard is second grade standard 2, which they have to write informative and explanatory text in which they include a topic, facts, definitions, and provide a concluding statement. So not a lot that they have to put into it, but they just have to be creative. We'll just go down here. For my social studies activity, I chose life before running water. And students, it's not going to be there's not going to be an assignment they're going to have to do, but we're just going to read this poem or short story called Life Before Electricity to learn about how our ancestors lived back then. We'll also explore the things we have today that they did not. And then the picture below of this tub is just kind of to show the students our ancestors bathed in that or they washed their clothes in that, and so just really make that visual for them, that things that we don't have to go through anymore because of electricity and because of running water. And then the standard I chose to go with that is history point 1.2. So let's use historical records and artifacts, including but not limited to photos, diaries, oral histories, and videos to draw conclusions about family or school life in the past. So we have a short story and then a picture to help solidify that thinking. So for math, my activity title is measuring rain, and so the standard is estimate lengths using units of inches, feet, centimeters, and meters. Students were going to use units of inches and centimeters to measure the different amounts in varying rain gauges around the room. So instead of having to set outside and hope for rain, I just chose to set out homemade rain gauges, kind of like this below around the room, and then students can walk around the room and record their measurements. Let's go up here to science. This I titled Exploring the Water Cycle. And so this is going to be a foldable. And so the tabs that they will have is condensation, precipitation, collection, evaporation, and transpiration. On the insides of these tabs, each student will explain the process of that specific process of the water cycle. And so right here is kind of a picture that shows that, and then they would be expected to make it look nice like that picture. And then the standard that goes with is analyze and interpret data for maps to describe patterns of Earth's features, the specific feature being the water cycle. For my music activity, I found a song on YouTube, and it's like a parody of the Cup song with words that describe the water cycle. So students will participate in a circle dance to the water cycle Cup song. And then the moves will be student choice. I'm just going to pretend like we used my example from the one that we created earlier in this class. And so I would show them that, and they could use that as an example for ideas of moves, how to count out 8 counts, so on. And then they would just continue till the end of the song. So the specifics of that activity would be that students will be split into the groups for it, and then again, they'll watch my example circle dance video, and then they'll be expected to be creative and make their own. And then the dance standard I found was combine a variety of movements while manipulating the elements of dance. So they will be in charge of that manipulation. For my art project, they're going to do a watercolor project. I thought that was a fun way to show what water can do when you mix it with paint, with watercolor paint. So students will learn how they can create a unique looking piece by using water with their paint. Students will be able to freely choose what they create and the colors um, they feel best complement their project. So that's using color psychology, whichever they feel, whatever colors make them feel the best in that project, they will be able to choose. And that was just my idea. I chose the fish because it's like fish live in water, and so it was another way to bring in the water connector. And then my standard for this was experiment with various materials and tools while demonstrating safe use of materials, tools, and procedures to create works of art or design. So they would have to have like paintbrushes and paper, and maybe they would decide to cut theirs out. So yeah, that's when they would practice their safe use and of just like various tools. Then last but not least, my reading theme, I chose to do a reader's theater, going to the book All the Water in the World by Georgia Ella Lyon, and it's illustrated by Catherine Tillotson. So their first exposure, I would just read them the book, but then along with the first exposure to emphasize like your voice in reader's theater and how important that is to like get involved and have fun with it. There's this video of a someone reading the book as well. So that will like really solidify the importance of changing your voice. For the second exposure, students will take turns reading to their partners, All the Water in the World. And so that would just really be important in another, like they would still very much focus on changing their voice and still reading fluently, but reading expressively. And then they would participate in this reader's theater, and it's kind of a cool thing. It has everything written out of like what student would talk and what they would say, and so then they would hopefully have learned to read with expression in the times of reading All the Water in the World, and then it would go over in that reader's theater. And then the standard I chose was tell a story or recount an experience with appropriate facts and relevant descriptive details, speaking audibly in coherent sentences. So really just like telling a story like an author wrote it to be told. So that is what that would be. So yeah, that's my Spider Scribe unit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. And that's it.